I'm Justin.
I'm Travis.
Welcome to Wrestling Junkie. Alright, welcome back to our Night of Champions results video. We just got done watching it. Before we get into each match, what was your overall thoughts of the pay-per-view?
I think every match was really good. They have one squash match kinda, which we'll kinda get into. But even that, it made sense for what their storyline. There's not much of one, but they're what they had going on. But yeah, it was really good. There wasn't too many surprises. I will say that. Well, I guess the ending it was surprising. Obviously we'll get more into that later. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, I think WWE right now is on a streak of back to back to back to back, 5 pay-per-views in a row now, where they've all delivered. All pay-per-views this year have been amazing. You had the Royal Rumble, obviously Mania, Elimination Chamber, then Backlash, and then now Night of Champions. And it's really good to see that they're able to keep things the crowds. I will say one thing: crowds do help a lot, and this Saudi crowd was amazing. I think they really showed how much it means, because obviously they're not there every week how it is in the States, so they're kind of anything they get is amazing to them. So it's good to see them being grateful for that and stuff like that. But yeah, all matches in my opinion delivered. I don't think there was really a bad match in my opinion. So, but yeah, obviously see behind us we have our first match that started off the night for the World Heavyweight Champion. We had Seth Rollins beating AJ Styles for the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion. What was your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, this was, in my opinion, the second best match of the night. And I was surprised it was the opener, but they had a little bit of info that kind of came out if you paid attention online a little bit, saying that he had to leave as quickly as possible to get back to shooting his Captain America movie. So that they put this first, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. But it worked well because it started off with a bang. One of the best matches on the card. Obviously, two of the best wrestlers in the company or in the world, really. But yeah, it went to the right person. We both said Seth Rollins should win. It made the most sense. And yeah, he's kind of on top of the world. And now that he has an official world heavyweight belt that's gonna actually be on TV and not just pay-per-views how it is with Roman kind of. It'll be I think this title is gonna be a lot more interesting than the actual undisputed champion.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the exact number, but I think it's 1,400 days since Seth Rollins held a world title. Obviously he's held the United States a little bit here and there. But yeah, I think, like you said, the right winner won. And also, AJ Styles looked amazing out there for 45 years old, just able to do backflips on top ropes, taking those big bumps still at that age, doing it for 20 years, still amazing in the ring. But yeah, this is probably my favorite match of the night. But yeah. And then going to our next match, we had Becky Lynch taking on Trish Stratus, which Trish Stratus did win this match. And what were your thoughts on this match?
The match was better than I expected it to be. They both look really good out there. But obviously the main talking point of this match is going to be the ending of the match. So Trish Stratus, it's a weird kind of spot, I guess, where she goes out the ring and then goes under, and she's kind of looking under, and no one knows what she's doing just yet. Everybody's kind of curious. And then she goes back in the ring, kind of distracts the ref a little bit, and then lo and behold, Zoe Starks pops out from under the ring, and I'll let you finish what the rest goes on here, because
she hits her finisher. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's an inverted GTS, which I love. That's one of my favorite finishing moves. I think that's something that is so unique that it literally feels like it's a big time move that should knock you out. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures afterward. Becky Lynch had to bust open her nose, so that was definitely big. But yeah, it seems like Zoe Stark's aligning herself with Trish Stratus, which I think is an amazing start for her on the main roster, going from being one of the top women's in NXT, then going onto the main roster with one of the GOATs in Trish Stratus and one of the new generation GOATs in Becky Lynch. So I think that's amazing for her. And yeah, just a really unique situation for Zoe, and I think it'll pay off in the end. I think knowing that Trish now has Zoe in her corner, I think that's gonna be the SummerSlam match now. Or obviously you still could have Trish versus Becky, but I think Zoe versus Becky will be Zoe's first big match, and then probably her SummerSlam pay per view debut.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match I think delivered very well. Trish Stratus, like another person who, for her age, still looks phenomenal out there. And yeah, just a solid match overall. And yeah, on to the next match. And then for our next match, we had the Intercontinental Championship on the line, where we had Gunther defending and retaining against Mustafa Ali. And what was your thoughts on this match?
Oh yeah, I mean, first of all, they both got huge pops as they came out. The crowd, I mean, the crowd was really into every match.
Yeah.
But I feel like especially this one, when as they were making their entrances, the crowd was really into them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really good match. Once again, another match that kind of surprised me. I thought if there were to be a squash match, I thought maybe it'd be this one. Not necessarily a squash match where, you know, Mustafa Ali just gets like destroyed,
Yeah.
but it as in like just a quick match.
Yeah.
And this was, I don't think it was too long.
Yeah, I think it was like just under 10 minutes. Just under 10 minutes.
Yeah, but that was a little longer than what I thought it would get.
Yeah.
Because another match ended up being the one that got cut short about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you go ahead. I know Gunther is one of your favorites right now. I'll let you go ahead and explain how you feel about your favorite right now.
Yeah, just I think I think I pretty much say almost every time when we talk about Gunther now, but it's just he feels like he's like the biggest badass in the world, who just destroys almost everybody he comes in his path, and just beats them, is on to the next now. And I am interested in who is next for Gunther. I think there's a lot of people on Raw that you could have. You could have like Johnny Gargano from or used to be. I don't know if they were feuded in NXT, but I think that would be an amazing match to have Johnny Gargano versus Gunther. Checking back to this match, you have Mustafa Ali, who looked phenomenal this match. Towards like the end of the match, you had like a real chance where like, oh, Mustafa could do it. He tried to do his 450. I think he hit it once, but tried to go for it again, but failed. But yeah, just another great match from Gunther, and the 5-star ring general is can continue his long IC title reign, and I don't think it's anytime soon, really, for being honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking real strong right now. And yeah, I as you said before, I don't think it's gonna stop anytime soon. I'm curious to see who his next like big feud's gonna be for the belt.
Yeah.
I think it could be like a number of people. I could even see like what I would potentially could be really good is like him and Brock thing maybe. I think that could be interesting. I don't know if Brock would like really necessarily want to go after that after the Intercontinental. Now there's another new belt as well. But yeah, that's something that I think would be interesting if they were to go that direction. Yeah,
it's something they kind of like tease at the Royal Rumble, where I think that's like almost like a dream match, because Brock's one of those guys who he's a hard hitting guy. Obviously, he's a real UFC fighter, so he has that background. But then Gunther is one of those like you see people's chests after he chops them, and a lot of them are like red and stuff like that. So that'd be a good match I think you could have. But yeah, Gunther being one of the top heels, and WWE has kind of like realized that and pushing him like a top heel is very good. And I think once eventually he does drop the IC title, he will be for sure in the world title picture, whether it's for World Heavyweight or Roman's Universal. But yeah, this is another phenomenal match, and yeah, on to the next one. Then in our next match, we had Bianca Belair going against Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, which she would end up losing to Asuka, and Asuka becoming the new Raw Women's Championship. And what was your thoughts on this match?
Yes, I was super happy for Asuka that she won. Unfortunately, I don't think she'll have a very long title run, because I honestly do see her winning a belt back. I can't say which one yet, because I don't know if the Raw belt's going to be on SmackDown. The Raw belt's going to, I don't know how that's going to be, so I don't know what belt is going to be. But, yeah, I think Bianca will be right back in contention for a belt regardless. Or this feud could just prolong into however long it wants to, because, I mean, they're both great. But once again, I feel like this is one of those matches where the ending was the main talking point. This is my favorite match of the night, by the way. I just loved how they did this ending right here. I felt like it was perfect, and It was a way for Asuka to win without making Bianca look weak.
Yeah.
You know, she still looked very strong in the match. Like she was literally about to win as it happened. But basically what happened was so Bianca kind of had like the advantage. What it seemed like the entire match. Like she looked really strong. Asuka did as well, but I feel like most of the time it was Bianca looking pretty strong. But Bianca goes for a KO. Well, first, Asuka goes for the miss, and she misses the miss. But yeah, she misses the miss, and it gets like on their fingers and all that kind of stuff. And then after she misses, Bianca goes for the KOD. But Asuka gets her fingers, and with the mist on it, the camera angle like gives you like a good angle, like focuses in on her finger before it happens. But she sticks her fingers in her eyes, and then she goes back outside the ring and recharges, is how they put it. And then she comes back and does it again, and that's pretty much how it ends. Like she gets fingers in her eye twice, even her own fingers. But yeah, it was kind of funny. Kind of interesting, unexpected. Both of them look strong. The crowd liked it. Everyone enjoyed a title change actually happening on the Night of Champions. So yeah, I'll let you get into what you thought about it. But I absolutely loved it.
No, you kind of hit all the points I would have hit as well. But I think them using the mist in a different way is like very like a unique way is like kind of is like really cool, because I think it's one of those things where only a few people are able to pull it off in their character, and I think Asuka is one of the people who can pull it off in her character. And like I said, it's a unique way of putting it on her hands first, then scraping her Bianca's eyes, then blinding her, then she gets the pin. I think that's a phenomenal way to do it. But yeah, I think, like you said, another great match. This is probably my second favorite or third favorite match of the night. But yeah, I'm glad we got a title change. Bianca's reign coming in at an end. I think she deserves her flowers for how good the title reign was. But yeah, just another great match.
Yeah, and I'm sure Bianca's probably going to take like a nice little vacation probably for a little bit. After finally dropping the title, she'll probably have like a little bit of time off, I would expect.
Next match, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line with Rhea Ripley defending and retaining against Natalya, and which was a squash match. Which before we get to like the match, which is only just over a minute, I do think this makes sense in storyline and like just for Rhea's character. I think she has been built as this like very strong women's character who could beat anybody on the roster, even going against some men. But yeah, I think this is another good showing. But yeah, it's you.
Yeah, it was what it was supposed to be. Natalya doesn't really have too much going on right now.
Yeah.
But I was happy to see her at the very least, because we haven't really seen her in like a big match in a long while. But yeah, essentially Dominic just distracts the referee. Rhea Ripley takes advantage of that, throws her into the stairs. She gets in the ring, does the riptide. That's pretty much the end of the match. It was, I think, about 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, as you were saying about Rhea though, like her just being so strong, like I'm almost comparing her to like a China.
Oh, for sure.
She's like,
for sure.
That's kind of how I look at her, in that kind of way, where like maybe not now while Gunther has the belt, but maybe I could see her going after like the Intercontinental Championship at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
Or it could be anything, you know, no telling where they could go with her character. But the way she looks right now, she looks really strong, and I'm loving her whole storyline, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where they wanted to have Rhea on the card, obviously being not a champions. Man, I think this is just a good way to show that Natalya, who is, I don't think gets a lot of respect for her work over the 10 years now, 15 years now in the company. I think she deserves her flowers for being able to do this for so long and being really one of like the unspoken heroes of the women's evolution. And yeah, I think Rhea, this squashing her, like you said, in about a minute is something that makes sense. And Rhea's just going to go on to our next opponent, which I am interested to see who is next. Because there is some real contenders you have for that belt from Raw. So
a shout out to Natalya also for even being able to for even doing this, because a lot of people wouldn't want to like rest
on her birthday too as well. Coming over all the way to Saudi on her birthday just to get squashed in a minute. Not a lot of people are going to do that because that's going to hurt their ego. But Natalya's one of those ones who's going to take one for the team and just go on to her next story, you know.
Yeah, she's loved by everybody. So just for her being able to like take a pin like this, just kind of for no reason, you know, like she doesn't have like a feud with her or anything really. It's just kind of like a random kind of thing. But yeah, shout out to her.
And then going to our next match, we had Cody Rhodes taking on Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar would submit Cody Rhodes. Yeah, what was your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, this match was really good. Obviously, the one of the big key points of this match was Cody Rhodes' arm being broken.
Yeah.
So pretty much the whole match, Brock is just kind of taking advantage of that. He's going for arm bars. He's stomping on his arm, doing anything to just exploit that injury even more. And I'll let you get more into what happened towards the end, but he actually gets him in a Kimura multiple times throughout the match. And Cody Rhodes has some big spots as well. Once again, I'll let you get into that as well. But yeah, it was a great match. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think the way they had this match was, I think a lot of people thought like Cody would win just because he's like Superman right now and he's able to overcome anything, but it shows that he still is human and that Brock truly is one of the most dangerous people in wrestling of all time, really. At the start of the match, he kind of like tries to play it slow and more technical and try to play smarter because he's at a disadvantage. And it's about like midway through the match where Cody finally realizes that his cast he has on his arm is a lot stronger than just his hand, so he starts using that to get on Brock. But then Brock finally gets him, like you said, in the Kimura like twice now, and holds him in there for about, I think he held in the Kimura for a long time total, in which it after so long it kind of like made Cody pass out from being in so much pain, which I seen a lot of people online kind of like talk about like why is Cody passing out from a move that isn't on his neck and isn't like cutting circulation to his brain, which doesn't make total sense. You can pass out from pain. That's kind of a common thing, but yeah, this is I think makes sense in storyline. And I think I kind of said it right where we're going to probably see this continue on for a few more weeks, probably to SummerSlam, because I don't see Brock really going and them really finishing this at Money in the Bank.
No.
I could see Cody being in the Money in the Bank match, but Brock coming there and just taking Cody out immediately and eliminate any possibility of Cody winning that match. So yeah, I'm interested to see what both men have looking forward to next. I hope their next match, in which I would assume is going to be their final match together, or at least in this like little mini series. I hope it's like a bigger like stipulation match where you either have like a no DQ, last man standing, or some type of like weapons match like an Extreme Rules or something like that. Which, as long as it makes sense, because I feel like this now is like a blood feud where both men just want to beat the crap out of each other, and Brock's been doing that to Cody, and I think for this that last match you kind of have Cody like hit it home that he can beat anybody, and he has his eyes set on the world titles. But yeah. And for our main event, we have the tag team champions on the line. We had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, which Roman Reigns and Solo would fall short. However, like it has been for the majority of the night, the ending is what the talking point is about. But before we get into that, this match, at first I think a lot of people didn't want this to be the main event and they wanted the World Heavyweight title for it, and I was one of those people, to be honest, because I feel like having a new belt should be like your ending. However, the way this ended made total sense, and that's one of the things where I think you have to trust WWE sometimes, and they've been doing this for so long now. They know what they're doing. They've been doing this for over 50 years, you know, so I have a little bit of trust in them. But yeah, this was another phenomenal match, and I'll let you get into some of it.
Yeah, the match was really good. I think what everybody wanted to happen finally happened. Well, first of all, obviously, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens retained. But that was by accident, but with the help of, surprisingly, the Usos, which I kind of didn't expect to even be on the show, because Roman did tell them not to come, not to show up, because they've been like messing up recently, and you know, that whole storyline that's been continuing for the longest now. But yeah, they've been messing up, so he told them not to come. So I didn't expect them to come, like, actually.
No.
And I was foolish, apparently, because as they were like about to win, I guess they were about to win. They had Solo down. He was the person that was tagged in at the moment. But yeah, they come in with the super kicks as the ref's down. Then they go for a double super kick onto Sammy. Then he drops. It hits Solo. Roman sees it from the outside of the ring as he's like starting to get up from his injury or whatever, and then he comes in there. He kind of like mushes their face in, both of them. He does Jimmy first, and then he does Jay, and then after he does Jay, Jimmy couldn't take it. He hits him with a Superman kick. Then Jay kind of goes up to him. He's like telling him, "What are you doing? What did you do?
Yeah.
Roman, are you okay?" And he's like going on about that. And then he tells him, I believe it was something like, "I'm going to do what you should have did a long time ago." Then as he's like on his knees kind of getting up, he hits him with another Superman kick. And Jay still hasn't like taken everything in yet. It seemed like he was kind of just shocked, and he was checking on Roman. But at the same time, it looked like he was like riding with his brother. His brother was kind of telling him like, "Nah, I got you. I'm your brother." And they're, it was just like a real just crazy moment. The crowd was really into it. I was really into it. But yeah, it was great, and I'm really curious to see what happens now. Because with the way that Jay, like, how he took what happened was he didn't like it necessarily. He wasn't against it, I guess you could say, because he didn't do anything about it, but he didn't necessarily like it. So could this be a Uso split coming up, or is this just them splitting from the bloodline? Like, it could go a lot of different ways. WWE surprised us a few times now, so I wouldn't be surprised if this would somehow lead to a Uso split.
Yeah, I think with this is, well, I'm just going to talk about like on a broad aspect of the bloodline storyline being over. This is over 3 years now of what has been like from Roman's return, winning the belts, getting with the Usos, starting that original bloodline. But what all started that was him fighting Jay, and him and just going back and forth. And Jimmy had to come and save Jay for a little bit, and then they both had to finally like accept that Roman was kind of their shot caller. They had to kind of be his henchman kind of. And I think that's why Jay was kind of scared for a little bit, because he got his ass beat by Roman. He was getting destroyed by Roman, and he had to kind of be like, well, if I can't beat him, I kind of have to join him. And I think now that he knows what's going to happen next, and he's kind of worried about what is going to happen next. But yeah, like, this entire storyline has been just, it is truly amazing of like how good it's been. And Roman said on after like the post WrestleMania not talk show, but the interview, like post interview, and he was just saying like, this isn't something that's gonna take 20 minutes for y'all to understand. It's a long-term storytelling. It's, you have to have y'all's attention spans longer than 20 seconds. This isn't a TikTok, and he's right about that. A lot of people kind of were saying that the storyline was getting like a little bit dead. It was kind of boring, which I think we were kind of on the fence as well. But recently, it's been getting more interesting, and with this, it's always getting like, they have you like thinking it's a little dull, but they pick it back up with these crazy moments. And I think there's another one. Like you said, I think this will be your SummerSlam main event. I think we'll see Usos taking on Roman and Solo. I also think, with that being said, I think that's how you get to WrestleMania 40 with Roman versus Cody. I think you don't have Roman defend the belt at all anymore until WrestleMania, and that's when you finally have that match. But until then, you have him feuding with the Bloodline and really being the complete end of the Bloodline, because right now you're having like Jay, who's probably gonna be on the fence of like, what's gonna happen next, like, what do we do, what do they do, and like, even Solo, you don't see Solo at all after he gets pinned. So you have to think what Roman's thinking about him like losing them the match. And then Roman is in disbelief because he's finally got turned on by the two people he helped bring up. And it's one of those things where you see a real dynasty finally fall, of Bloodline being on top of the world, having both the tag team belts, both of the world titles. Them having to introduce a new world title because Roman was on the two world titles for so long. And I think now that it's finally coming to an end, I think when it's all said and done, this will probably be, and this might be a hot take, I don't know, this might be the greatest storyline of all time because of how long it's been going on and how interesting it's been week in and week out. And its highs have been incredibly high, and there hasn't been really any lows, really, if I'm being honest. But
and also, one more thing that people, I feel like, don't talk about like enough is the way that Solo just kind of like fit in like seamlessly, like out of
Oh
nowhere,
yeah.
like wasn't even in the WWE, and then comes into the WWE into the middle of this storyline. I forget what pay-per-view it was when they first like
Yeah, it would
actually
have
showed
been.
him.
It would have been at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah, Clash at the Castle.
Wonder.
Yeah, and that was the first time you officially like kind of see his face, you know.
Main roster, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
and yeah, he kind of fit in seamlessly, and he obviously looks really strong. That's kind of where they're going with this whole thing. Like the Usos aren't enough, so he's picking up the slack, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Solo and the writers and all that for like kind of fitting him seamlessly, and now he's kind of like a focal point of whatever is gonna happen next. Like, is Roman mad at him? Are the Usos mad at him? Obviously, they are more than likely. He's mad at the Usos. It's like a whole triangle right now.
Yeah, like this entire like bloodline storyline, like. So like in a lot of storylines, there's obviously one main character who you can like pinpoint, and like that's who it's all about. With this bloodline storyline, it's like a book. There's like chapters of who was your main talking point. Originally, it was all about Roman. Then it was all about Jay. Then it was about Sammy trying to get into it. And then it was Sammy trying to just win the belts from Roman. Then it's back to Jimmy and Jay. But now you kind of have a chapter of Solo being the main character because he's the one who got super kicked. But obviously he knows it was an accident from the Usos. It wasn't by purpose.
Yeah.
But now Roman's probably gonna be mad at him for losing the match. So now you're gonna be in this like weird like time frame. And I'm really excited for on Friday when they have the 1,000-day like ceremony of them celebrating Roman's 1,000 days of what's happened there, because I'm sure that's not gonna go well for Roman. But another thing as well is like I don't know if it's like for some people like how like big of a deal is, but I think one thing that WWE really was like their camera angles, because as the Usos do that super kick, you see Roman finally rise up and kind of seeing like what just happened. He doesn't see anything before that. He only sees them super kicking with Solo. So that's probably why another reason he's so mad is like, one, I told y'all not to be here at all. I told y'all don't show up. I don't want y'all help. Stay in the back. Don't want y'all. Then he sees them, and the first thing he sees them do is super kick Solo. So that's why he kind of goes in the ring. He's like, what the hell's going on here? But yeah, just another great way to close out a pay-per-view, and it leaves you truly excited for Raw and for SmackDown. Obviously, mainly just SmackDown because that's where they're on, but it leaves you just anticipating what is next for this storyline. And yeah. But yeah, that was Night of Champions. Like I said, another fantastic pay-per-view from WWE, and just hitting home their main events like really, really well. All of them deliver amazingly, especially with when it ends in like a bloodline way where it leaves you thinking what's happening next. But yeah, I enjoy this one. This is honestly one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year so far. I think this is definitely up there in like contentions of one of the better first half of the year pay-per-views. And but yeah, if you guys made this far, make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know what you guys thought about the pay-per-view, and let us know what you guys predicted as well, and how many did you get right. Now, if you have anything else to say, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video.